Hey friends, welcome back to Acre Homestead. It's a party, it's Friday night I guess. I just opened a can of carbonated water because we're gonna be doing a huge project. I actually asked my husband this morning, what do you wanna do? It's Friday night. And he said, I have plans with a friend. So that means I have the house to myself. And what better thing to do on a Friday night than organize your pantry. I have a walk-in pantry and it's a disaster. I kind of started putting it together right before garden season started. Then garden season started and harvest started and I started canning and all this stuff. Food and food preservation items just got thrown in there. And it's just a disaster in there. It's actually quite embarrassing. And I have food all over my house, tucked in every little corner. I've got it in my laundry room. Right in front of me in my dining room, there's a wheelbarrow filled with pumpkins, winter squash, and sweet potatoes. Just ordered a ton of food organizational containers, and my goal is to try to get my cupboards in here organized. Those are a disaster. I'm going to show you all the before, and it honestly is embarrassing. And I'm going to show you the walk-in room, and we're going to get this organized together. What better thing to do on a Friday night than organize the food storage room? I did actually just download an audiobook. I'm going to be listening to an audiobook while I do this. I love audiobooks. I listen to them on Audible. And the book that I just downloaded is actually A Year Without a Grocery Store by Karen Morris. It's a book I've seen online going around for a while now, and it's basically how and what to do and how to build food storage and basically how to live a year without a grocery store. And I need to learn more about this. So I figured an audiobook is the best way. You guys know I always have headphones in. I'm so busy, I don't have time to just sit down and read, but I have time to listen to an audiobook. So I will leave the link down for this book down in the description box, and if you go through my link, you can get a 30-day free trial of Audible. It's kind of fun that I finally decided to download this book and listen to it while we organize my food storage room, so I'm pretty excited about that. I think I'm going to learn a lot. So we're starting out with a little bit of carbonated water just to get us hydrated. I am caffeinated, I don't drink very much caffeine, and I can feel the caffeine, so I'm glad we're doing this. It is now 4:40. This is going to take me a while. This might be a late Friday night. So first off, this room is overwhelming. This is my growing station where I start all my seeds. I've got all these trays up here I need to get rid of, or not get rid of, I need to organize, clean, get ready for next year. That's a huge bowl of black beans we need to deal with. I have a ton of food preservation things, all my bulk food storage. I've got some things in 25-pound bags that need to be put into buckets. We have a ton of canning stuff that needs to be organized. It's all mismatched. I have a ton of cans in here that I want to actually bring in the food storage room. I've got all my food preservation stuff here. We've got winter squash on the floor. This week we just actually got some blackout curtains. I might switch those out. I just bought some at Costco that are a lighter color. I'm not sure if I want to keep these ones. They are blackout curtains. I have them open right now just so that we can see a little bit better in here. But for long term, those are actually going to be closed so that the food is in a dark space. I have all of my 1-gallon jars out here. I did give them a good wash. They're ready to go for food to be put in them. And then I have some 1/2-gallon jars. I can link these down in the description box. And we've got some lids. I have a bunch of things like this that need to be put in jars. It's just a disaster. I mean, look at this. This is real life. I didn't do anything before I showed you. This cupboard's been broken for a while, and that's why it's like that. So I'm going to get this organized. Where we're going to start. This project is starting to feel a little bit overwhelming, but I kind of took a second to figure out where we're going to start. What we're going to do is I'm going to pull out anything that needs to be put in a jar from this pantry wall, and we're going to put it on the island. That way I can assess how many things I actually need to put into jars, and we can kind of get a semblance of what needs to be jarred up. What I want to do is make that walk-in pantry like a home grocery store. That's what I'm thinking. I'm envisioning my own grocery store in my house. Hence the book, A Year Without a Grocery Store. Let's try to make our own grocery store. So, go on the carpet. Your nails are loud. Go in there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start putting things on this island. It's going to look worse before it looks better. So one of my other goals is to not just get the food organized, but to get my small appliances organized, like my food processor, my blender, my things like that. Because food is not organized, my small appliances are not organized. that's why I want to get some of the food that's in these cupboards into the walk-in pantry so that I can put my small appliances in these cupboards. And there's a little bit more organization between where the small appliances are and where the food is. These cupboards broke a year or so ago, and my husband just hasn't got around to fixing them. I don't see that happening anytime soon because it's going to be quite a project because of how they broke. So I think I'm just going to reevaluate what's going to go on those shelves. I think what we're going to do is take all those jars out of there, and I'm going to put something tall up there. I'm just not sure exactly what yet. So this is where we're at. It always looks way worse before it looks better, but I'm just working on getting things out of these cupboards. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get all my food preservation items into the garage so that I can start emptying this area and I can start to kind of think what I need to do next. You want to see something crazy? So let me set this down and I'll show you. These were the potatoes that I started to grow my sweet potato slips on. And look what I found when I was digging through here. They actually started to grow potatoes. Now they're little, but look at that. Isn't that absolutely crazy? And then look at this one. This sweet potato that was in here, well, I just broke it off, started to grow another slip. That is absolutely crazy. So I'm taking all these down from the grow room so that I can wash them and they'll be ready for next year. I just spilled all over the place. So I'll definitely clean that up tonight. But I'm trying to get these out of the grow room / pantry so that I can finish organizing the food. And then tomorrow morning I'll work on washing those up. You want to make sure your seed starting trays are washed and sterilized before you start growing new seeds in them. So I'm continuing just to empty this room. We're starting to see a little bit of progress so that I can then organize and start putting stuff into this room. Figured it would just be easier to bring my wheelbarrow in here. These are my pumpkins. I'm gonna put these here. This is my sweet potato harvest. These were the first sweet potatoes I've ever grown, and there are a couple of regular potatoes in here as well that I'll put into different containers, but they are really small. We're hoping for next year for a little bit bigger harvest because I had a full 16 by 4 foot bed dedicated to these sweet potatoes, and this area right here are regular potatoes, so you can see how little of the actual sweet potato we got. I'm going to kind of dust them off. I did not wash them when I brought them in. I'm just going to kind of take my glove and kind of just brush off some of the dirt, and we're going to get them into this container. I was trying to figure out, I've got a couple of cute containers, but I'm trying to figure out what I want to go in what. I think I'm going to put it in this cute one. One of you guys sent me this beautiful custom harvest basket. It says Becky's Acre Homestead on it. I'm going to link her down in the description box. She makes these. She also makes those egg racks. I don't know if you guys have ever seen on my counter that my sister-in-law and I made. A couple of you guys have asked if I can make them for you. Well, it would not be cost effective for me to do that because it took us like 4 hours to make that. So the lady that makes these, she also makes those, so I'll link her down in the description box. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check all these potatoes and make sure there's no soft ones. And we're just going to stick them in here. That is the sweet potato harvest right there. There's a couple small ones in here, but wow, that just proves to me that we could have done better. Better than nothing, but definitely not my goal. What?
Where's the plaque box?
I never brought it inside. This basket was a little too small.
That's so exciting, Becky.
Thanks.
It's crazy. I mean, it's brilliant.
So my husband just got home. I don't know if you can hear him, but my plaque just came in the mail and he's pretty excited about it. It's really cute. So there were a couple of the sweet potatoes that I stabbed with the pitchfork, which is kind of sad because it was my largest sweet potatoes. So they're not soft or anything yet, but I am sticking these right on the top so I see those and I know that those ones need to be eaten right away. So these were the jars that were in my cupboard that broke. I do save my boxes when I buy brand new jars, but I buy probably 80% or 90% of my jars from Goodwill, so you don't get these handy boxes. So the jars that are going in the food storage room, I am going to be putting in these boxes. These just happen to be in my garage. And so these are some potatoes I'm going to put in here. These potatoes were my first pressure canning project, and I was so nervous about it, but I wish I had bought my pressure canner earlier. It took me years to finally bite the bullet and buy a pressure canner, and then once I did it, I was like, why didn't I do this years before? This is pickled cabbage, so basically like a quick pickled cabbage, and this is one of those things where I like it, but it was the first time I'd ever done it, and I did a ton of jars. I don't know, maybe 20, 25 jars, because last year I had a bumper crop of cabbage. Well, this was one of those things that I learned, if you're canning something new, don't can that much of it, because one, you don't know if you're gonna like it, and two, you don't know if you're gonna like it. And so it's okay. It's not my favorite. My husband doesn't really like it at all. So I have to like hide it in things. And so I just don't use it very much. So I need to make an effort to use it so that it doesn't, you know, just end up going to the chickens, because I did can this last year. So I still definitely need to figure out where I'm going to put all my canning jars, but I wanted to take a mental break from that, and I wanted to do something that was going to feel like I accomplished something. So what I'm going to start doing now is taking some of these bags of goods that I have, and I'm going to start putting them into these gallon glass jars. These are some mini chocolate chips. Fit in there perfectly. Regular size chocolate chips. This is calcium hydroxide. This is for water glassing eggs. I'm actually going to be doing that this weekend. And I buy all my bulk goods mostly from Azure Standard. If you want to check that company out, I'll leave it down in the description box below. I feel like this is probably not the healthiest thing to breathe in. Last time I ordered from Azure, no, a couple times ago, the granola was on sale, and I ordered 3 bags, 3 5-pound bags. I went a little overboard. This is a lot of granola. We've gone through one bag. I used to make all my own granola from scratch, and I still do. I just haven't had any time to do it, and that's why I ordered it. But now I'm not going to be able to make any for a while because we got to go through this granola first. Buttermilk powder. Hazelnuts. Pecans. I'm going to mop when I'm completely done with all of this. This is a 25-pound bag of steel cut oats. One of my favorite ways to store my bulk food storage is in these 5-gallon food grade buckets. And then I have a gamma lid for them. They screw on. I'll show you how to use them. These are my favorite lids. This is why I love a gamma lid. It's so easy to put on and off. It just screws on and off. If you use the cheap white lids, they're about $1 each to put on here. You basically have to use a crowbar to take them off every time. And I do access these pretty regularly. And so it's worth paying. I think these are like $7, these gamma lids. It's worth every penny if you're gonna get into bulk food storage and you're gonna actually use your bulk food storage. If you're gonna do like a 25, 30-year storage system where you're doing like long-term storage, you don't need to invest in these. My goal is to keep a year's worth of food that we constantly rotate through. Worth the investment on getting something that I'm gonna be able to access this food easily. So I'll link these down in the description box, not just the buckets, but also the gamma lids. I have heard that you can buy food grade buckets at like Walmart or places that have a bakery because they buy frosting in big tubs like this and you only have to pay $1 for them. I have tried that a few times and every single time I've gone, they haven't had them. They've had some smaller kind of funny shaped ones that don't have lids and things like that. And so I haven't found that to be a good resource for me, but I hear people talk about it online as being a good resource. So you can check out your local bakery to see if they do have food grade buckets. But for me, I just find it easier and really reliable just to invest in a nice 5-gallon food grade bucket with a nice gamma lid. So one thing I like to do with foods that I go through a lot of, like flours, oats, things like that, is I actually have 2 of these big buckets. Is I can store one in my cupboard in my kitchen, and then I can store one in my food storage room. This is the bucket that was in my cupboard, in my pantry, in my kitchen. And now that it's empty and I'm putting the new flour in it, what I'm gonna do is take the one from my food storage room and put that one in my pantry, and this one will go in my food storage room, and that way I can always have a rotation. What I'm doing now is going through my dried and freeze-dried section because I had a bunch of quart jars filled with the same thing. And now that I have some larger jars, I'm going through and I'm condensing. So I just put 3 quart jars of dried tomatoes in here. And then now what I'm gonna do, and whatever else has more than one container that I can put into a bigger container and try to condense things. I'm glad that I'm doing this because I'm running out of canning jars and I've just freed up probably 10 or 15 quart jars by condensing them into these bigger sizes. So these are freeze-dried peppers I just put into this 1/2-gallon container. These are freeze-dried eggs I'm gonna put into this 1/2-gallon jar. So I do stack my jars. You can see I have 2 jars stacked on top of each other. This is kind of a controversial thing in the canning world. You need to do research for yourself. The way I'm comfortable stacking jars is only if I have a box between and there's an even pressure. This right here is kind of a pain point for me, and I'm not sure how to solve this problem. I do have a whole box of lids here. I've got my rings here, and I have my pectins. I actually just bought all these pectins because they were out for a while due to the craziness of the world, and I don't like to be out of pectin. I like to keep them on hand at all time because I do keep stuff in my freezer that needs to be turned into jams and jellies, and so depending on when I have the urge to actually have the time to can it, I always like to be prepared and keep this stuff on hand along with my jars and rings and stuff like that. And because of 2020, I like to make sure that if I can find something, I buy it at the time that it's available, because you know, you don't always know it's going to be available. So, but I don't know how to keep it organized so that it looks nice and neat. I've tried a couple different organizational strategies, I should say, when it comes to my rings and my lids and my pectin. So I just have this cute little basket that I'm going to put my pectins in. And you know what I might do? I think I might take 4 or 5 boxes of each size lids and put them in this box. And I'll keep this in my food storage room. And then the rest of it I'll put out in the garage maybe. I don't know. If you guys have any suggestions for me of how you store your rings and your lids and everything like that, I'd greatly appreciate it. And maybe I'll put some rings in here. I'm going to put wide mouth on one side and regular mouth on the other side. That's actually turned out pretty cute. I like that. We have hit the final stages and it is looking so pretty in here. I'm absolutely loving it. I've definitely kind of created my own little grocery store in here. I do need a vacuum. I'm going to vacuum the floors one more time before we go. And I'm super grateful for the opportunity to fill up a room like this with food storage. And a lot of this was homegrown, not everything obviously, but a lot of it was. And this book that I'm listening to, I'm almost done with it because let me see what time it is. It's 9:16, so it's been a while since we've started this project, and the book is only like 4 hours long, and so I'm almost done with it, and I've learned a lot. I'm definitely going to start implementing a few of those topics that were in the book. So if you want to check out the book, A Year Without a Grocery Store, I can leave the actual book for the Amazon link down below, and then also I will leave that Audible link if you want to try out Audible for a free 30-day trial, because we could all benefit from having a little bit more food storage. This is looking really beautiful in here. But let me show you one more thing that we accomplished. I got all the canning jars out of the laundry room except for that one, but that one I actually need to toss, unfortunately. This is gonna be its own project too, making my laundry room more functional. I mean, this is real life. You can see how it is right now. My laundry room is the walkway between my house and our garage. That's the door to the garage. And it's just not been functional because I've had stuff in these cubbies. So what's happened is my laundry baskets either end up on here, but then if they're on here, then when I need to fold, I can't fold anything. So then the laundry baskets end up on the floor, and then you can't open this door. So now that was one of the reasons I wanted to get all this stuff out from these cubbies, so that I can put my laundry baskets in those cubbies, and I can try to make it more functional as an actual walkway as opposed to an area for my laundry to be on the floor. I am going to do a video where I do a full tour of everything that is in all these jars and all the stuff we preserved and everything like that, but that will be its own video. We had to get it all organized before I could film that, so I'm pretty excited about it. I want to give you one more span of how pretty it's looking. I'm just so happy with it. I think it looks so nice. Thank you all for hanging out with me as we got this huge project done. This was Friday night and this was fun for me. I enjoyed spending time with you, hanging out in here, getting this project done. I know this is probably not the ideal Friday night for everybody, but this has been weighing on me. The fact that this has just been so disorganized, and you know, when you put as much time and money and resources and effort into preserving your own food and buying in bulk and everything like that, when it looks messy, it's hard to enjoy the fruits of your labors. But overall, this project is done. I mean, in the future, I do want to paint this room, and I would like to build actual built-in shelves and things like that. But for now, I'm just grateful to have it done. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.